And right now, hello everyone and welcome to lesson 4-6, square root and cube roots. This lesson is found on page 85 and this is your study guide lesson. As always, let's scan the lesson 4-6 in your textbook. Write the definitions of square root and cube root. So go ahead, if you know it already, write the definition for square root and cube root. You can pause the video now and write it or continue playing. So a square root is one of the two equal factors of a number. Please copy this down exactly as you see it. And a cube root is one of three equal factors of a number. So clearly square means two equal factors and cube means three equal factors. Let's do a key answer here on the side. Write the definition of perfect square in your own words. Well, a perfect square, for example, boys and girls, is a number for like 144. Okay, because 144 is 12 times 12. Okay, or you can say 12 squared. So what would be a good definition? I would say a product that has two equal factors. This is our product and it has two equal factors. Let's look at the real world link, the rainforest. Tropical rainforests contain the greatest diversity of plants and animals on Earth. Diversity means many, many different types. And they cover less than 5% of Earth's land. Wow, so little. Just a 4 square mile patch of rainforest contains thousands of species of plants and trees, and hundreds of species of mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. Number 1. Two integer factors of 4 are 1 and 4. So these are both factors of 4, right? 1 times 4 is 4. Write three other pairs of integers, of numbers, could be positive or negative, that have products of 4. For example, what we're trying to do here, you can say 2 times 2 is 4, right? You could also say that negative 2 times negative 2 is also positive 4. Or you can say negative 1 times negative 4 is also positive 4. Number 2. Which pair or pairs of integers that you wrote for exercise 1 could represent the dimensions of an area of land? So what they're saying is, for example, if we have an area of land, let's say this is our area of land. Okay? Area means all the space inside of it. I could have 2 times 2, or 2 by 2, equals 4 units squared, right? That could represent it, so 2 times 2. We could also have one that looks like this, really long, and we have 4 by 1, okay? Sorry, that's a 1 there. It's hard to see, but 4 by 1. That would also be 4 square units. So 1 and 4, or 2 and 2, right? 2 by 2, and 1 by 4. Which pair of integers could represent the dimensions of a square area of land? A square means the dimensions are all the same, right? That's not really a perfect square, but you get the idea. Whatever this is will also be this, right? 2 and 2 will give us our perfect square. What are the dimensions of a 4 square mile patch of lands? What are the dimensions of a 4 square mile patch of land? Well, miles, right? And it's square, and it's 4 square. 2 miles, right? By, or times, 2 miles. Does that make sense? What would be the dimensions of the following square patches of land? Okay, the following. A 9 square mile patch of land, 9, and it's square. So what 2? If I were to draw a square patch of land and I have 9 miles squared, okay, what would it have to be? It would have to be 3 by 3, right? 3 by 3. So I'm going to write 3, again miles, but I'll write in the short form, by 3 miles. And finally, a 25 square mile, 25 square would have to be 5 by 5, right? But kilometers. So it's going to be 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers will give us 25 kilometers square. Please write this 25 kilometers square here as a key answer. Okay, flip to page 86. Here we have to match each perfect square with its square root. So all of these are going to be perfect squares. I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm seeing 169, 144, 196, 225. If I were to remove these decimals, I know how to work with these numbers. I know that 169 is 13 times 13. What on this column looks like 13 times 13, right? I said pretend that the decimals aren't there. Well, there you have it. We have 13 plus 13. It could be positive 13 times positive 13 or negative 13 times negative 13. It would give you 169, right? And then 144, we know it's 12 times 12. And 225, I know it's 15 times 15. And then I can only guess that 14 times 14 is 196. I could also check, but that's the obvious one for me. Because 11 times 11 would be 121, which would give you 1.21, right? And let's put an arrow to that one, like that. And this is, again, a key answer. So please write 121 next to that one. Question 5. Why does a perfect square have two square roots? Okay, let's say this is a perfect square right here, right? We know that, 13 times 13, or 1.3 times 1.3. Why does it have two? Why does it have a positive and a negative? Well, as mentioned before, the product of two positive numbers is positive. So 13 times 13 it's going to be a positive number, 169. And the product of two negative numbers is positive. So negative 13 times negative 13 will also be 169. And there you have it. This is also a key answer. Now let's work with cubes. Cubes is to the power of 3. So the factor is repeated 3 times. For each pair of numbers, circle the perfect cube. Then write the cube root of the circled number on the line provided. So we're going to circle the perfect cube and then actually write what the factor is, right? The factor that repeats itself 3 times. For the first one, I see that 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So my factor is 2, right? Over here I see that I have factors of 5. 5 times 5 is 25. That's only, this one's squared. This one right here is squared, so it's not that one. But 5 times 5 times 5 is 125, right? Over here, like I mentioned earlier, I like to just pretend that the decimals aren't there. So I'm going to just work here with 16. I'll put the decimal actually, right there. Right? I know that my answer is going to have a decimal place. But then I'll just work with 16 and 64. 16 is 4 times 4, so this one's just square. But 4 times 4 times 4 is going to be 64. So it's decimal form. But is it positive or negative? Because I need to have a negative answer. I know that if I make them all negative, negative times negative will give me positive 16. But then if I multiply it by another negative, it's going to give me negative. Okay, so it has to be a negative number. Because it's cubed. Remember, to the power of 3, if your base is negative, the factor has to be negative. Alright, and now over here we have 125 or 216 or 25. Over here, boys and girls, you can see that this one is 5 times 5, while this one is 6 times 6. But if I do 5 times 5 times 5, and then 6 times 6 times 6, I'm going to get this number right there. So this is going to be 5 times 5 times 5, 6 times 6 times 6. Do you get it? So right there. Okay, and right there. For your summary, please write what you feel that you learned. I know that you learned what one of the two equal factors of a number is, what a square root is, and you also learned what a cube root is. Okay, so square root, cube root. You learn to identify cubes, and you learn to identify squared numbers, perfect squares. You can go ahead and copy that there. Okay, see you in class.